Hi, I'm Dr. Troy Overbeek. I'm a board-certified foot surgeon, and I've invented a revolutionary custom innersole that will drastically change the way people experience comfort in their shoes. I would like to introduce my invention for a negative pressure custom innersole. I'm making this video to better explain the idea to help different shoe and innersole companies understand my idea. I'm currently patent pending and excited to share this idea with you. Footwear consists of two parts, a shoe and an innersole. Great strides have been made in the shoe with its function and design, though little is done for the innersole. I treat people with a lot of overuse injuries, everything from plantar fasciitis to degenerative joint arthritis, tendinous and ligamentous injuries, all with custom orthotic devices with great success. I would love to be able to offer this to everybody, but the price is anywhere from $350 to $800 for a pair of custom orthotics. They're greatly different from an over-the-counter innersole as they're very rigid in nature. They are custom molded to the patient's foot. They help to control function versus just shock absorption. The average person takes about 10,000 steps a day, anywhere from 2 to 3 times their body weight per square inch. I'm a 6 foot, 220 pound male. That means I carry somewhere close to 660 pounds per square inch every step I take. An over-the-counter innersole that's made of closed-cell foam is not going to withstand that force. It's going to collapse, allowing my arch to flatten. Where a custom orthotic device holds my arch up. Basically, it brings the ground up to my arch instead of my arch falling to the ground. Some examples of some over-the-counter innersoles are such as this one here that's very flexible in nature. It's made of closed-cell foam. You can flatten it with any pressure. Here's another one that's made a little bit more rigid. It's got a polypropylene shell in it, but again, very flexible in nature. And the reason they do this is, let's look at two size 9 feet. One person may have a high arch, one may have a flat foot, one may have a wider width, one may have a narrow width foot. Some may have long toes or short toes. Long toes will put the arch more proximal. Short toes, the arch is more distal. So you can't make a very rigid device because it wouldn't fit many people. Therefore, they keep these very flexible in nature. And again, okay for shock absorption, but not for functionality. I've invented a device that will mimic a custom orthotic device that I feel you'll be extremely excited to see. Let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. I went to medical school up in Chicago. I did some internships in my 4th year, everywhere from Harvard, John Peter Smith in Fort Worth, Harris County in Houston, Scott and White Texas A&M in Temple, and University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio. I went on to do my first year of residency at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio, where I specialized in diabetic limb salvage. I then went on for 2 more years of surgical residency at Scott and White Texas A&M, and then was blessed to be asked to be on the faculty there. I stayed on for an additional 4 years, trained residents, and then transferred here to Tyler, Texas, where I currently practice for Christus Trinity Miller Francis. This idea began about 17 years ago. I was in the operating room. I'd placed a patient in what we call the lateral decubitus position. This is a position where we place them on the lateral side of their body in order to work on the outside and lateral aspect of the ankle. What we do is we place them in a very large beanbag, and we wrap this beanbag around them kind of like a taco, and then we remove the air from the beanbag with a suction device. When we do this, this big bag becomes a very rigid structure. It holds the patient in a position which helps to offload and avoid injury to that patient so that we can do that surgery. At that moment, the idea began. I've worked on several prototypes over the last 17 years, and I've been unhappy with most of them. I learned from each prototype and finally developed one that I feel like I can stand behind, that others can understand, that you don't have to be a foot surgeon to understand this. I attempted to approach a specific company and found out that I could not go any further without a patent. So that's what I've done. I've gone forward, and I'm working currently on getting a patent. I'm patent pending at the moment. I've developed an invention that incorporates the custom moldability of a custom orthotic that I feel can be done at a significantly lower price. and sold to the public, and be very beneficial not only for a company but for the patient as well. I use the same principle as like a freezer bag, or the bags that you put your clothes in, and the vacuum storage bags. What I'll show you here is this is a vacuum food storage bag. I placed my raisins from lunch today on it, and I removed the air, and you can see that it became a very rigid device. It conformed perfectly to the raisins. It's the same principle. Think of a bladder filled with lightweight material that you step on with your foot, remove the air, and it conforms perfectly to your foot. It's an exact match. It is a perfect mold of your foot inside your shoe, which would bring great comfort, just like the custom orthotics do. This is my crude prototype, and I realize it is crude, but I think you'll understand it. Basically, it is a hard polypropylene shell that is very rigid in nature. This polypropylene shell cradles a bladder filled with lightweight material. It has a deep heel cup, not only for cushion, but also to help control the rear foot. And it has a one-way valve. Now, this is a Schrader valve. It doesn't have to exit like this. It can be right up against the bladder, but I did this for purposes to show you today. This valve could be removed. You can add material for a higher arch. You could remove the valve and remove material for a lower arch. The arch will move forward and backwards depending upon long toes or short toes. This is a 100% self-conforming innersole. And I'll show you a little bit about it here. So if I show you the bladder here on this device, I'm going to put my thumb in it, and I'm just going to remove the air with this little valve. And you can see that it conforms completely to my thumbprint. It also becomes very rigid in nature, and it doesn't move. So imagine this device, you stepping on it, it conforms to your foot, has a beautiful top cover on it. It would act much like a functional orthotic device. Now, this is the functional device. As you can see, it's got a very deep, it's got a very deep heel cup. It's got a very hard, rigid, you can't bend it, polypropylene shell that extends from the heel to the midfoot. This is just a nice top cover that helps with shock absorption. And I've just added this little area right here to show you where the valve would be to remove the air from the bladder, or to add material or subtract material. The innersole, I believe, is a marketing dream for a company, and is also beneficial for the patient. It's a win-win situation. I did some research looking for the amount of innersoles sold, and the latest I can find is 2015, and the data said that there was 4.7 billion with a B innersoles sold in the United States. Those are over-the-counter innersoles only in the United States. That is not counting abroad. I know that this negative pressure custom innersole will change the marketplace, and it will outperform any over-the-counter innersole out there. As they say in the Shark Tank, this is a better mousetrap. I appreciate your time. If you're interested in this device, please contact me at troyoverbeek@hotmail.com. That's TROYOVERBEEK. Or you can contact me on my cell at 903-780-9160. Again, thank you for your time. Have a great day.